So today I'm going to show you how to make two kinds of drawstring bags. Little ones like this. This is the only one I have at the moment, but so you can see it's pretty small. Pull the string. It's a drawstring. It is almost 5 inches by 3 inches. So about 3 by 5 inches is how big it's going to be. I am using worsted weight yarn, specifically Red Heart Super Saver, and I'm using a 6mm crochet hook. So the first thing you're going to do is slip stitch. Simple. Insert your hook. Going to have it here. For these I tend to use a looser stitch. And so to begin, you will chain 12. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? So then what you're going to do is you're going to single crochet into the second loop from your hook. So you're going to skip this first loop and you're going right into the second. You're going to insert, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through both. And you're going to go all the way to here. And what I would do is use a stitch marker, if I can grab one. Use a stitch marker to mark this first single crochet to make sure you don't lose it. Oops, my hook came out. Alright, so you're going to single crochet into the rest of these loops. So you have your single crochets. I'm not the speediest crocheter, as you can probably tell. So you've made it all the way back to the beginning, and what you're going to do now is you're going to single crochet you're going to turn your work around, not flip it, just turn it clockwise, I suppose. And you're going to crochet right into the next loop on the other side. And you're going to single crochet. You're not going to chain any. You just work all the way around in a giant circle around this first chain. So all the way around. And by the end of it, you should have 20 single crochets. And so you're going to slip stitch into this space you marked with your stitch marker. Going to insert, yarn over, and pull through, slip stitch. And see, you have this little oval, this oblong shape. So you're going to chain 1. And this does not count as your first single crochet. So you have your chain 1, you're going to single crochet into the back loop only. Back loop only. And you're going to mark your stitch, that first single crochet, with a stitch marker. And back loop only, you're going to single crochet. And this is going to give you a sort of ribbed look. If you don't prefer that, you can do a regular single crochet, but it will make for a thicker and therefore stiffer bag, which isn't ideal for drawstring bags, especially of this size. So really that's up to you whether or not you want to do that, but I always go for back loop only. And so as you've made your way all the way around, you will see it starting to curve a little bit, and that's exactly what you want. And you're going to skip this crochet here that this one is coming out of. You're going to remove your stitch marker, you're going to insert into the back loop, and you're going to slip stitch. You're going to chain one, which does not count as your first single crochet. You're going to single crochet into that loop that you've just chained one out of, and you're going to insert your stitch marker to mark the beginning of this row, and you're going to single crochet all the way around, and you're going to repeat this step for every single row. There are no increases or decreases, it is just single crocheting all the way around. And your slip stitch, and as you can see, it's starting to take shape. See, 3 rows and you already have your bottom, and at any point you can weave in this end into the bottom row with a, oh, it's got stuck underneath here, with a yarn needle. And so I usually wait till the end. You can do it at any point. It really doesn't matter. And so you repeat this step over and over again until you get to the top of your bag. And I will see you then. So I've reached the end of this final row, and I'm going to slip stitch, and let's see how many rows I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've done about 13 rows, and it's gotten to the length I want it to be, so I'm going to tie off my end. What I usually do, I chain 2, pull the yarn through, and tighten it, and use my yarn needle and go on the inside and weave in my loose end. So here we go. Let's weave through and cut off the excess. So far you have this rectangle of a bag. So I'm going to get a different color of yarn. Have this nice gray yarn. I'm going to go into this row, this second row here, and you're going to decide which side is going to be your end. I'm going to go with this side, and so I'm going to work this in through here, and I'm going to weave it in under, but not all the way under. So under these right here, if you can see that, I'm going through. So I'm going to weave this through all the way around the bag. So I'm going to pull it through here, you can see, and I'm going to continue all the way throughout the bag. All the way through until we reach this end here. So I have it all the way around. We have this loose end here. Hang on, I should probably do one more so there's not that big a gap between the two. And one more. Here we go. And so your bag should look like this. When you pull it, it tightens the bag, and you pull it back out, and I'm going to cut off the string still attached to the skein. Cut that. And I'm going to have to tie off these ends somehow. And what I prefer to do is make a loop, and you're going to go through and pull. So it makes a little knot, and you have this part left over. And what I do is tighten it real tight and cut off this excess, so you'll have just a loop at the end. And you can do this however you'd like, of course. That's just my preference for what I like to do with these bags, the ends of drawstrings at least. And take your loose end and cut it off. And there you go, we have a drawstring bag. Nice and simple. A rectangular one at that. Alright. So, moving on, I'm going to show you how to do the second type of drawstring bag. I have the same type of yarn, only this time in a different color, because why not? So, still working with my 6mm crochet hook and worsted weight yarn. So I'm going to start with a magic circle. So if you don't know how to do that, you know, I'll give you a moment to go look it up. Alright. So you're going to start with your magic circle. Alright, so you're going to single crochet 6 into your circle. So 1, 2, oops, I keep wanting to double crochet, 3, 4, 5, and your 6th. And so you're going to tighten this so that it makes a ring around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to slip stitch into that one so you have a circle. Going to chain 1, and you're going to increase in every loop. So you're going to end up with 12, and your chain 1 does not count as your first single crochet. So into that loop, you're going to single crochet 1, 2, and if you're like me and you easily forget where your first stitches are, I would recommend using a stitch marker. So that's 2. In your next loop, 2 more, that's 4. In your next, in your next loop, 1, 2 more, that's 6. Next loop, 7, 8. Next loop, 9, 10. Pull up my yarn. And your last loop, 11 and 12. So you have the circle here. And what you're going to do is you slip stitch into that first single crochet, chain 1, and you're going to increase in every other loop. So your first single crochet, and place your stitch marker, and in your second loop you're going to do 2 single crochet. So 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. And next loop, 1 single crochet, next loop, 2 single crochet. Next loop, 1, next loop, 2, 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 and you're going to slip stitch into your first stitch. And so you're going to have this flat circle here. Chain 1. This time you're going to increase every third stitch. So let's do our first single crochet, place our stitch marker, 1, next stitch 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 1, next stitch 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 1, next stitch 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 1, next stitch 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 1, next stitch 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 1, oops, next stitch 1, last stitch 2. So you should have 24 around at this point, and you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, and next you're going to increase in every fourth stitch. So single crochet 1, use your stitch marker, next stitch 1, that's 2, next stitch 1, that's 3, next stitch 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, pull on my yarn real quick, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch yet again, and you're going to have the base of your bag. So you can make it bigger if you'd like. Maybe you'd want to go one more row. I would prefer to stop here. And so you're going to chain 1, single crochet into that same stitch, use your stitch marker, and from this point on there's not going to be any increases or decreases. You're just going to go around this row, 1 single crochet in every loop. And if you'd like, you can go back loop only. This will make the bag thinner and more flimsy, I suppose, which is what you would want from this type of bag. Or if you prefer, you can do regular single crochet, but I prefer back loop only, excuse me. And I will meet you back at the end. So, I've made it to the end. I've done a few more rows. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh god, I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, 11. I've done about 11 rows from the base, and so I'm going to tie off, which I do by chaining 2, cutting the yarn from there, and pulling it through. And so what I'm going to do, yet again, is use a yarn needle and weave in the loose end right onto the inside. Just weave it in very quickly and cut off the excess. And so I'm going to get my different color of yarn. I'm going to use this nice little gray one again. And I am going to, yet again, weave it through with my yarn needle. For this one, I'm going to go to the third row, so 1, 2, 3. And for this one, you can pick any point to be your entry point since it's a circle. You're going to weave it through, not all the way under, but under just enough. Through here, I'm gonna pull this through, get more slack on the yarn, and continue all the way around. So right here, I'll pull it through and continue. And you're going to continue all the way until you get back to your other end. And so you're going to have this right here. If you pull on the ends, it'll be a drawstring bag. And so make sure it's all the way loose again, all the way. And you're going to cut off your excess here at the end, and like the other bag, I'm going to tie it in the way that I prefer to tie them, making a loop and looping it through so you end up with a knot with a little loop on the end. And the other end, going to do the same and cut off the excess. And so you'll have your handy little drawstring bag. This one looks more like a pouch, and the other one, if I can find it here, is more of a flat one. So that's the difference in the two. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense, and I'll see ya. Before I go, I would like to mention that if you like this video, consider supporting me on Patreon. For any amount, you will get access to written patterns of everything that I have made videos on here and other things that I haven't made videos on. For any amount, the lowest being $1. For $10 a month, you will get a single item that I have made. It will most likely be something medium sized, usually a plush or doll, something like that. And for $20 a month, you will get this box full of items, full of smaller things like these drawstring bags, maybe, or maybe a little pumpkin, something like that. Something, you'll get it. It'll be full. All right. So yeah, that's always available if you would like. I appreciate it very much, though I understand if you can't or don't want to, but again, it's always appreciated. So that's all, and I will see ya.